شكرا لكم، وسنشرع في جلسة نقاش أخرى مع ضيوف جدد سيديرها أيضا السيد رفيع الدين شيكو، والذي سيستدعي المتحدثين القادمين في الجلسة.
So if I can have our next set of panelists, Mr. Andre from IGF, Mr. Hassan from COFAS, as well as Mr. Jalal from Portnet, and lastly, Mr. Mohammed Khatib from Path Solutions to please join us. So ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to get into the very interesting aspect of how do we make it happen and hear from those who are making it happen. I'd like to first have our esteemed panelists do a short presentation, and we'll, if we can keep it short, we'll have more of a chance to speak, and then we can get into hopefully a good discussion. So first, if I can have Mr. Andre Permana from IIGF to share his thoughts.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Distinguished guests, esteemed panelists, everyone. In this really great pleasure for me representing my CEO from Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund to present something about who we are and then what we do, and especially related to the theme of this session. First of all, if I may have the slides on screen to help us understand more about what I'm going to present. Okay. Next slide, please. So, Rosama. IGF is the government of Indonesia's especially Minister of Finance fiscal instruments. We are set up to have a mandate to support infrastructure projects in Indonesia, especially in a public-private partnership scheme. And in this forum, I'd like to thank Mr. Osama for having us here as a host, and also very glad to inform you that we have an IGF and ICIEC has renewed our MOU to really have a really fruitful cooperation scheme in providing credit mitigation instruments together. And also Ms. Keiko, as she's probably already leaving, we already also have another cooperation with her institution. And here, as a member of Islamic Development Bank, we are already quite active in terms of providing our infrastructure to our people. And here we see we are actually having a mandate as a single window of providing government guarantee to infrastructure projects. We also can be assigned to do guarantee for direct lending, co-guarantee with the government. And sometimes we can also be assigned by the government to help in preparation of the PPP projects. We are now having around $1 billion assets with a regulated gearing ratio of 10 times. So now, as per today, we have guaranteed around 22 projects with values of $14 billion with our exposure of $2.6 billion. It includes 6 different sectors, including the ICT sectors. So I think probably in the end of the presentation, I will share with you, in the context of the theme of this session, the technology implementation and how actually the basic infrastructure that can enable business intelligence can be provided for the public interest, especially for the government. If you see in the next slide, this is our projects throughout Indonesia. As we can see, we have so many islands, around 17,000 islands, and we need to be connected each other, we need to be integrated, and the basic infrastructure for ICT sector is really crucial for our needs. And we can have a width probably similar to the whole Europe in terms of how in terms of our size of geography. Next slide. Okay, this is our business model. You can see on the right-hand side how the guarantee can be provided to the project company, the private sector. And then here we have the list of risks that we can guarantee on the left side. Basically, risk that is triggered by the government actions. So the objective of having this guarantee is to improve the credibility or creditworthiness of the government contracting with the private sectors in the long run. The next slides, we can see how few of our projects can support the enabling environment for business intelligence. First of all, we can see that we have projects we call Palapa Ring, which is actually providing fiber optics and microwave station for 57 different cities throughout Indonesia. And we can do it. We're doing it as PPP with availability payment scheme. And we have another project of multifunction satellite for the government. So this is government satellite, not private sector satellite, who's have the objective of providing or supporting government interests in delivering their mandate in health services, education, defense, security, and so on. So you can see in the next slide. This is our first ICT project, the Palapa Ring. We divided into 3 different procurement packages. So there are 3 project companies benefiting from our guarantees for these projects, from the West package, Middle package, and the Eastern package. Here, the estimated cost of the project is around $500 million. Next slide. We can see how this project is aimed to benefit all the people, especially here we can see how it can mitigate or reduce digital gaps between regions in our country, between capital cities and rural areas or outer islands. It aims to reduce cost of business, cost of logistics, and so on. It helps to enhance our health, education, and government service. And even for the next project, we have the government satellite project. In the next slide, please. Yeah, for this project, we actually have our initial cooperation with ICIEC, basically, and MIGA, for them to provide the non-binding indication to support this project in addition to our guarantee. So in this project, which is also have a value almost similar to the earlier projects, around $500 million, it also aims to help the government reducing the impact for environment, and also to support international and national trades between all the players related to the government, and to mitigate the geographic connectivity between regions. So I think with this slide, I will end my presentation. I do welcome Q&A for the next session. Thank you.
So I'll take a little bit of an executive decisioning and mix it up a little bit, because I don't want to lose our audience and have some kind of interaction rather than waiting for the questions at the end. I hope that's okay. And if not, that's what I've decided, so we'll go with it. Mr. Andre, we had an interesting conversation earlier. Indonesia has 17,000 some islands. You know, in context of your mandate as a government agency that's providing risk mitigation for government infrastructure projects, how, and given the topic of our panel discussion today, what are the priority of technology enablement for you? Let's hear it from the ground, right? So I know we're kind of prioritizing in context the importance of business intelligence, in context of your risk mitigation work that's so complex in many ways. What aspects of business intelligence in particular, or the infrastructure for it, have you prioritized?
Thanks, Ms. Rafi. So first of all, at the basic, I think we need to understand what is business intelligence can value to us, to our business, and even the use of technology for our business process as a guarantor. So I think similar to ICIEC and MIGA from probably some other credit mitigation companies, when we're supporting projects, we need good support for project data and also for the client's data. For us, the clients would be from the public sector, the line ministries, the regional governments, and also some SOEs. And also the private sectors can play as lenders or as sponsors, and so they can set up the project company. But before that, we need to implement ourselves the technology in our business process. For instance, as a risk company, we implement the enterprise risk management using technology. So we implement the or we call it IRIS system, and we do it also for the project monitoring works, because while we or after we sign the guarantee agreement, it's not ending of our job, it's really initiating our jobs. Then we try to ensure that there was no claim happens. Then so we should do the project monitoring works, which actually try to identify early warning signals for every risk. So it should enable certain technological aspect in our project. So this is something that we do start from ourselves before we trying to influence others and introduce to, let's say, our very diverse clients or stakeholders with this regards.
And I remember you mentioned there's a satellite program in terms of data feeds and connectivity, especially given the various geographic challenges you have. So I think the point I wanted to highlight here was, every context is different, and I think sometimes the infrastructure, physical infrastructure aspect, if it's not there, then moving to an AI and so forth becomes a secondary thing without it. I'd like to actually, thank you so much, Mr. Andre. I'd like to actually go next before we have our other presenters, because I know, Mr. Khatib, your organization, Path Solutions, has been a leading Islamic financial technology solution provider. What is your context? And so within Islamic financial institutions, you perhaps have the widest view on the state of data and the state of credit data. So in context of our full session, could you share your thoughts in terms of the challenge we're facing?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Business intelligence, and actually when I got invited to this session, I was excited because business intelligence is very close to my heart, but and I know when they recommended to do this amazing project, they understand how challenging data projects are. Just to bring some realities onto this, 70% of the business intelligence projects around the world, they do fail. And they usually fail because of lack of structure, and business intelligence is not a product. If you are buying any system, you can go and buy a system that's specific to your business. Business intelligence has always been in the organizations across all the departments with no single owner. And this caused a lot of problems when you come to the implementation of business intelligence. So the quality of data is very important. That's why the fourth industrial revolution technologies are very important because they are automating the collection of this data. And to automate this collection of data, we're working with a lot of banks, and it's really, since 2000, when I came to this region and I got involved in Islamic finance, my biggest complaint is the quality of data. And you really, if you go to any of our markets, it's very hard for you to find good data. The great thing, what's happening today, is in the last 2 years, most of the financial institutions are getting into projects of, to the core, they're digitalizing their systems. And if you are digitalizing your system, part of this digitalization is collection of data, even to the social medias and to the different e-channels. We have been working with a bank in Kuwait, where basically they did full digitalization with the help of McKinsey. And it really, they did it right, because they went back to the core and started there by automating their processes and digitalizing, and then bringing it forward to present through the e-channels. In addition, they actually collected all this data through the e-channels and dump it into a staging area where it get populated into business intelligence. Very important stages that has to happen before you get the quality of data to do analytics and to do actually decision making. And this kind of project needs 4 parties in it. They need the business team, the team that understands the frameworks and understands what you really want from this business intelligence. The second is you need the technologists. You need the technology team who actually put the technology together. You need the PMO, the project management, and the most important one is the sponsorship, the executive sponsorship. If you don't have an executive sponsorship, even on an organization level, it's very hard. Imagine what happens on a country level and across multiple countries. So I believe it is very important project, and I definitely think it's badly needed, and I hope it is very successful across all our Islamic countries. But we really need to look at how we're collecting the data, the quality of this data, and bring it all into the ecosystem of a business intelligence. Of course, in the old days before the 4th Industrial Revolution, everybody was talking about centralized data. So you needed to create this mainframe with all this data and you put it in it. And that was a huge challenge. And I heard earlier they were complaining about where to put the data. Should they put it in one of the countries, or should they put it in Europe or whatever? One of the most important technologies of the 4th Industrial Revolution is actually the blockchain. And the blockchain is based on a distributed database model. And the blockchain is actually the reverse of everything that you think about in the past when you used to think about centralized data, because you can actually have the data fragmented across different databases and different countries, and through a very defined framework, you can actually share that data. So everybody can own their piece of data, but then when you actually ask for the data is available. This is why we're saying the blockchain is actually changing the whole different model, because I remember a few years back, Oracle submitted a proposal to the US government to create those huge databases for the US government and set them in California, managed by Oracle. I believe that's the old world. Today, the new world is, no, you can own your data. You can actually put all your regulation and everything on this data, but through an open API and through a very well-defined interfaces, we can access these data across the countries. This also brings us to the international trade finance and how international countries talk together to each other in trade finance and other things. So business intelligence, the project I heard about is amazing. I believe it's the right time because the 4th Industrial Revolution technologies are here, and they can actually help us create that business intelligence. It automates the collection of data, which ensure the quality of the data, and I think that will help the success rate of the business intelligence project. That's my thoughts on that.
Thank you so much, and I'll come back and we'll take questions from the audience because I think we talk a lot about, we've heard a lot about blockchain, obviously the role of artificial intelligence, and we think it's all relevant, but I think I'll come back and we'll take some questions from the audience about the reality of how that could and would work. But next, I'd like to invite and get a perspective from Mr. Hassan Banoor, who represents a global organization, COFAS, many of you would know, in terms of profiling and analyzing risk around the world. Please, if you'd like to share your thoughts first. We can give him a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. Bonjour à tous. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like first to thank the Islamic Development Bank and ICIEC for giving me the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you with my perspective after 1 year in the trade credit insurance industry, coming from the more general and life insurance side of the business. I will also give you a few examples of how COFAS as a group is using these new technologies, especially artificial intelligence, in order to drive innovation in our business. And lastly, I will share with you my personal thoughts on what are the challenges we are facing in the OIC member countries when it comes to creating efficient business intelligence ecosystems. So, I truly believe that trade credit insurance is a great product. If you think about it, insuring your receivables and your balance sheet as a business owner, as a top executive, is one of the key risks, most probably the top priority risks that you want to protect against, and this usually comes far ahead of any other traditional line of business that are widely spread. However, our product remains relatively unknown. If you look at the size of the B2B transactions that are covered by trade credit insurance, and if you compare it with the overall size of B2B trade around the globe, it's relatively small. At COFAS, we estimate that TCI penetration is not more than 5% worldwide. So, next slide, please. Why such a great product remains confidential? One of my belief is that we have to acknowledge the average and typical customer experience is actually average. If you think about the key touch points in selling and servicing a trade credit insurance policy, from the very beginning, it's a very complex product to sell. You need at least 5 meetings in order to sell this product, which is a lot, because our products are complex. Then we end up in arguing and debating with our customers about the limits that we grant that are always perceived as falling short of the expectation. So, one of the root causes behind this average customer experience is actually the lack of data. So, next slide, please. When you think about this need of more data, need of much more data, the trade credit insurance industry has been designed and operated on the basis of structured data. But if you think about it, structured data, stored, well-controlled, is actually a tiny fraction of the data which is available out there. So one of the questions, I think, and one of the potential game changers for the industry is how to access this much wider ocean of data which is out there. I like to quote this provocative statement from this trade tech and digital guru, Christoph Spory, who's basically saying that we are living in our own world in a relatively comfortable market, small by size, not growing, and we are outside of the digital reality. So, is there a possibility to move away from this confined world, unpenetrated market, to a much more spread market? Next slide, Sid, please. So, I want to share with you a few examples that COFAS is currently not only experimenting, but even using on some real-life examples that are based on artificial intelligence technologies. So I will develop maybe just two of these that are illustrated here. The first one is about decision trees, which allow us to improve the way we assess the risk of our debtors. So we call these boosting techniques. Some people refer to it as advanced decision tree, which are combining several learners, several algorithms, and put all together, it will give you a more accurate and much more powerful assessment of your risk. The second example, which maybe is a bit more practical and easier to grasp, is the technique of web crawling. So what is web crawling? It's basically using the power of machines in order to Google the web. So the traditional way of monitoring and watching our debtors is to have credit analysts that are reading newspapers, such as the Financial Times. What we're doing here is that by using some keywords and again some advanced techniques of artificial intelligence, we have some algorithms that are Googling and searching the entire internet in order to capture relevant and key information that we are going to use in order to fine-tune our assessment of buyers. So these are typical examples of how at COFAS we are using new technologies, very advanced technologies, in order to help us improve the efficiency of our information ecosystem. Now, if you go to the next slide, I would like to step back a little bit and to come to comment one of the very practical and very fundamental aspects of our business. We have over 670 professionals in COFAS Group that are working on information. This for a group that has 4,000 employees worldwide. It gives you an idea of how important information is in our business. Now, these professionals, different profiles, they can be information officers, credit analysts, or support functions working on the governance, on the procurement of this data. They are all acting in the simplified value chain, which consists in buying information, producing information, and enhancing information. All of this is feeding our unique database, which has over 80 million companies that we are monitoring. Some of you who are familiar with our business would recognize this scale that we have represented here, which we call the DRA grid, DRA for debtor risk assessment. So this is how we rate companies in order to support our credit limit decisions. Now, what I want to highlight here, and this was commented before, is the importance of quality of information. So not only we have this axis with this rating from 0 to 10, which allows us to basically assess the credit worthiness of the debtors, but equally important, we have this dimension, A, B, C, D, E, which gives us a feel of how robust, how reliable is the information we have about this particular buyer. So, in order to conclude, I would like to put it in perspective, next slide please, of some of the challenges that we as COFAS are going through when we are operating in OIC member countries. So, I was mentioning earlier the number of professionals we have in information worldwide. So 8% of this workforce is covering OIC member countries. However, the number of companies that we are monitoring in the OIC member countries are actually only a fraction. So in a typical OCDE country, we are able to monitor 120,000 companies with one FTE. In OIC member countries, it's less than 3,000 companies that we are able to monitor with one FTE. So you can see here the imbalance. Is this due to technology? Unfortunately not. We are using the same unique database worldwide. We have the same interfaces with information providers, but the challenges that we have is on the accessibility, the transparency, and the availability of reliable information in those markets. We have illustrated here some of the, it's a simplified version here of the way we assess on an ongoing basis the factors that help us to qualify how strong, how robust is an ecosystem in a given country where we operate. And the bottom line, as you can see also, is that the cost of information is a challenge in these countries. So I'd be happy to comment further on other aspects and some of the challenges behind this data quality issue. Thank you very much.
So, okay, sorry. I think that was an incredible ending, I must say. I don't know how many of you were amazed by that closing, besides the wonderful work that COFAS is doing in a very sophisticated way and the role, utilization of AI and other tools that you're applying. So I think that's a great case study for us. But the ending, I think, tells us the similar cautionary note that Mr. Khatib, you highlighted in terms of the data quality challenges. And as we embark on an OBIC type of an initiative, I think this will be a 10x challenge to, if we were to do this in OECD countries, obviously, given the availability of the data, it seems. But before we go, and I want to be conscious of time, so I'd like to have our final presenter, present his views, and I'd like to open it directly after that to the audience. If I can have Mr. Jalal bin Yaoun to come up and share his views on Portnet's role in business intelligence.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. First, I would like to thank the organizers, the Islamic Development Bank and ICIEC for giving this opportunity to share our view and case in Morocco regarding this problematic. Please allow me to switch to French because I prepared my presentation in French. Alors bonjour tout le monde. Donc est-ce qu'on peut passer la présentation s'il vous plaît? Donc je viens du guichet unique national du commerce extérieur qui est le National Single Window of Foreign Trade in Morocco et je voudrais vous parler un petit peu de comment nous, on travaille pour stimuler les flux commerciaux et d'investissement à travers la mise en place d'un système de business intelligence communautaire. Notre rôle au Maroc, c'est d'aller vers un nouveau paradigme en termes de gestion de services publics et en termes de gestion du quotidien des entreprises au Maroc qui travaillent notamment à l'import et l'export. Donc, comment on change ce paradigme? Comment on voit l'administration publique dans l'avenir? C'est une administration qui fait une meilleure planification en se basant sur la prédiction, une administration qui prend des décisions en se basant sur des données réelles et pas des décisions à la hâte, qui travaille sur la collecte de données d'une façon non intrusive au business et aux entreprises au quotidien. Au lieu qu'on demande des rapports, on fait une collecte intelligente et à travers une administration invisible. Être fédératrice de l'intelligence communautaire, et c'est un rôle qui va au-delà de ce que fait aujourd'hui, à travers l'agrégation des expériences, à travers l'agrégation de ce que font les entreprises et les citoyens au quotidien. Un gouvernement ouvert, et c'est en alignement avec les objectifs des Nations Unies dans ce domaine-là. Donc, c'est-à-dire donner l'information à l'entreprise au moment où on en a besoin et sous la forme souhaitée. Donc, permettre des procédures administratives simplifiées, alignées à la réalité du business et non intrusives au processus avec lequel fonctionne l'entreprise au quotidien. Puis, permettre d'assister l'entreprise au quotidien dans sa prise de décision. Et ça, c'est le rôle d'avenir de toute administration et de tout un gouvernement. C'est aller au-delà de servir l'entreprise, mais de l'assister d'une façon intelligente, communautaire, à prendre des décisions sur la base de l'expérience de tout le monde. Ce qui revient à faire de l'entreprise une entreprise augmentée de capacité d'intelligence collective qu'elle ne peut pas avoir toute seule. Diapositive suivante. Quels sont les atouts qu'on a aujourd'hui? Selon une étude qui a été faite par le cabinet Pricewaterhouse, relative à la maturité des données et aux capacités digitales des entreprises qui agissent dans le transport et la logistique en général, cette étude dit que uniquement 10% des entreprises au niveau international qui agissent dans le transport et la logistique jugent leur capacité analytique avancée. Donc on peut imaginer ce qu'on peut avoir dans un écosystème comme l'écosystème de Portnet qui permet à l'entreprise d'effectuer tous ces procédures qui soient relatives aux opérations d'importation et d'exportation auprès des administrations, auprès des autres fournisseurs de services publics et privés, d'une façon digitalisée à partir du bureau. Ça peut montrer cette complexité. Donc les atouts qu'on a aujourd'hui, c'est qu'on a un écosystème qui est magnifique, qui est très grand, et c'est le plus grand atout qu'on a, qui nous permet d'avoir tous les attraits du commerce international dans son sens large, logistique, procédures régaliennes, tout ce qui est financier, puisque toutes les banques sont connectées à notre plateforme, ainsi de suite. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît. Donc, cela nous donne un petit peu une idée sur ce qu'on a aujourd'hui en termes de couverture globale des processus d'importation et d'exportation au Maroc qui vont à partir du moment où une entreprise réfléchit à faire une opération de commerce international, c'est là où on rentre en jeu et on arrive à capturer les données sur cette transaction, sur ce contrat commercial qui vient d'être conclu, et puis on accompagne l'entreprise sur toutes les étapes qui viendront après, jusqu'à ce que la marchandise arrive et jusqu'à ce que la marchandise puisse être vendue. Et c'est ce qui a permis au Maroc d'obtenir énormément de points, énormément de sauts qualitatifs en termes de tous les indices, et notamment l'indice du Doing Business de la Banque mondiale. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît. Cela, comme je l'ai dit, va avec une stratégie qui vise l'intégration de 3 types de flux. Contrôler les flux physiques de marchandises, contrôler les flux de données qui conditionnent le bon déroulement de ces flux physiques de marchandises, et puis aussi contrôler les flux financiers et de paiement. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît. Donc ça, c'est le nombre de services qu'on a. C'est plusieurs dizaines de services qui sont donnés à une communauté de plus de 46 000 utilisateurs au sein du Maroc, composé de tout l'écosystème du commerce international. Slide suivant. C'est des exemples d'outils qu'on met à la disposition des entreprises et qui permettent à cette entreprise de devenir plus intelligente et augmenter en termes d'intelligence. Une entreprise qui voudrait exporter des tomates du Maroc vers la Côte d'Ivoire pourrait, en saisissant le nom tomate ou HS code tomate sur le système, pourrait avoir toutes les procédures nécessaires pour faire cette exportation au Maroc, mais au-delà du Maroc, ça veut dire toutes les procédures nécessaires à l'importation en Côte d'Ivoire, et bientôt avec les simulateurs de coûts qui vont bien, avec toutes les possibilités qui permettent à l'entreprise de prendre la meilleure décision très rapidement. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît, parce qu'on n'a pas assez de temps. Ça, c'est aussi un système qui nous permet de s'ouvrir sur notre communauté large. Et c'est ce qu'on appelle trade direct. C'est un processus de normalisation de tout ce qui est processus de trade finance au niveau du Maroc en premier lieu. C'est un projet sur lequel on est très avancé avec toutes les banques du Maroc et qui permet une dématérialisation de bout en bout du processus de crédit documentaire, l'aide de crédit stand-by, des transferts à l'international. L'objectif, c'est de normaliser ce processus au départ et de le dématérialiser et de donner une vision consolidée à l'entreprise marocaine au niveau du commerce international. Slide suivant. Slide suivant. Au niveau international, donc, on s'inscrit également dans une initiative d'intégration, puisqu'on travaille avec plusieurs organisations internationales, vise à aller au-delà de ce qu'on a au niveau de nos frontières et de se connecter à travers des systèmes similaires pour avoir de l'information au moment opportun, ça veut dire au plus tôt, avec une meilleure qualité et permettre à l'entreprise de prendre la meilleure décision et puis bien entendu l'administration derrière. Slide suivant. Nous sommes en train de travailler aujourd'hui aussi en phase définitive à la mise en place d'un système de business intelligence communautaire à la disposition de tous les usagers de la plateforme de Portnet. Chacun de son côté pourra bénéficier de ce système-là pour tracer tout le parcours de marchandises à l'importation et à l'exportation et puis qui permettra à donner plusieurs informations. Slide suivant, on va voir des exemples. Donc, explorer les données générées ou capturées via l'intégration de l'ensemble des processus et des procédures dématérialisées, doter les usagers d'une vue 360 sur la supply chain du commerce international, fournir à la communauté, chacun de son côté, tous les indicateurs nécessaires, et puis faciliter l'analyse des données et la prise de décision. Slide suivant, s'il vous plaît. Slide suivant. On va directement à la synthèse. Slide suivant. Slide suivant. Les usages possibles de ce système de business intelligence, c'est permettre une gestion avancée de risques aux banques comme aux autres administrations qui font la gestion du risque au commerce international quand il s'agit de contrôle, d'inspection, de ciblage d'une marchandise qui va traverser les frontières, offrir des opportunités commerciales pour les entreprises à travers l'analyse de toutes les réglementations qui apparaissent tous les jours, proposition de routes logistiques et de décisions alternatives à l'entreprise, c'est-à-dire une entreprise qui dit « je vais importer de la Corée », le système va lui dire « vaut mieux importer de la Turquie parce que selon nos données, vaut mieux importer de la Turquie ». Donner des simulateurs de coûts, je l'ai dit auparavant, permettre une optimisation de la gestion des stocks et de l'approvisionnement, et puis agréger les savoirs d'expérience. Et on passe au dernier slide, s'il vous plaît. Donc, quelles sont les conditions de succès ? Avoir une gouvernance inclusive, et c'est ça la chance qu'on a. On a une entreprise dont la gouvernance est constituée de l'ensemble des parties prenantes de la chaîne du commerce extérieur. Constituer ensemble, c'est-à-dire devenir intelligent d'une façon collective, la masse critique nécessaire à cette intelligence, combler les lacunes en termes de maturité de données et de capacité digitale, mettre fin au travail au silo, c'est-à-dire une banque ne doit pas se concentrer uniquement sur les process financiers, parce que ce qui compte pour l'entreprise, ce n'est pas avoir un crédit, ce n'est pas être accompagné à l'export, mais c'est vendre la marchandise et gagner de l'argent. Donc l'idée, c'est de voir le processus de bout en bout et de penser out of the box. Donc l'harmonisation, la simplification et la dématérialisation, c'est ce qui permet de capturer des données de qualité, s'aligner aux standards internationaux, et il y en a énormément. Et je fais allusion au Centre des Nations Unies pour le commerce électronique et la facilitation du commerce. Donc, et bien entendu, en dernier lieu, adaptation prospective de la réglementation qui permet de bénéficier du traitement de la donnée et de pouvoir la traiter en faveur de la compétitivité des entreprises. Et je reste à votre disposition pour plus de questions. Merci beaucoup.
Mr. Jalal, thank you so much. I think we had interpretation issues. Was everyone able to hear the interpretation? Those who were okay. All right. I'll actually take a few questions immediately. I think I had the opportunity to speak to you, so I had a great idea about Portnet's technology and business intelligence infrastructure in helping you achieve a one-gate, one-stop center to facilitate trade from Morocco. But rather than me asking, I'll put it to the floor if there are questions. Sure, we'll start from here. And if we can limit it to, sorry, if we can just, if you could just state your name and organization and limit it to a short question, please.
Technology is great when it works. Cornelia Meyer from MRL Corporation. I have a question. Thank you. It was a fascinating panel to Mr. Mohammed Khatib. It was very powerful that the example you went with blockchain and the organization that had McKinsey and did it the right way. Now, that's great, but it's also costly. So what do we do in the IDB, 57 IDB member states? Not everybody is rich enough to hire McKinsey and do it that way. What do we do to ensure that everybody grows at the same speed and sort of puts the right technology in, gets technology ready at the same speed, so we don't have even bigger discrepancies between whatever the OECD and the member states of IDB?
Thank you for the question. No, I'm not recommending that everybody should hire a McKinsey and do it. I believe the project that has been proposed is a great project. I think this forum and Islamic Development Bank playing a key role in making everybody work on the same framework is critical. And I always believe ISDB have a great platform to initiate such projects. What I was actually stating is we have to create a culture also in our organizations, because really the amount of data that you want to collect, a lot of it is going to come from these organizations. And if these organizations don't have the culture to actually collect this data correctly and accurately, then basically all the BI is not going to give you the intelligence that you want. So I believe it works in both levels. I believe that this kind of project is very important and is needed to make all those countries work together and create this business intelligence framework. But in addition, I believe we need a lot of education in our countries to make sure all these organizations digitalize so they can actually automate the collection of data and not depend on humans, and which is basically what has been happening, and that's why we have so many problems.
I think we have time for probably just one more question. In the front here. Yes,
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Her Royal Highness Princess of the Jigma from Burkina Faso. So I listened very well what you have said, but what I didn't hear is also about local content. You know that Africa has a lot of genius. Myself, I developed a blockchain that's called YAM. This is smart in my mother tongue, and we've been in the value chain of shea butter. Those are concrete examples that can feed the data issue. And I totally believe what you're saying. I have been first saying that the data who's collecting locally doesn't reflect the reality. And those fake data, I have to say that, decide on my life and the life of the people. And definitely blockchain also can really track, rather than we completely solve the issue of corruption or whatever. So I'm also a member of the Digital Economy Task Force just established with the African Union and the European Union. And I have been saying to them, you know, don't start from scratch, because we Africans, and again, what I've listened here, we do have the solutions. We organize ourselves. We did part of our homework. Finance is not the problem. People are organized locally. It's about access to market as well. And I think that the issue here, somebody says in the panel, what matters is what I'm going to sell. And I think that look also into local content, bring them around the table, what you are doing, use us as well as one of your stakeholders, because we can help shape. Thank you very much, because I know that we're running out of time. Sorry, moderator.
No,
thank you.
Thank you. I think that is a very good ending for us, identifying the number one practical usage of blockchain and some of the additional pitfalls and your experience and verifying, you know, within the African countries that you're experiencing. So with that, I'd like to thank the panelists. I hope this was engaging and interesting for all of you. Please give our panelists a round of applause.
شكرا لكم السادة المتحدثين على هذه العروض القيمة. وسنشرع الآن في تقديم بعض الهدايا التذكارية للسادة المتحدثين. وأتشرف بدعوة السيد أسامة قيسي، الرئيس التنفيذي للمؤسسة الإسلامية لتأمين الاستثمار وائتمان الصادرات، لتقديم الدروع التذكارية من المؤسسة. وأبدأ بالسيد أندري بيرمانا لتسلم الدرع التذكاري من المؤسسة. الدرع الثاني سيسلم للسيد حسن بن نور. شكرا لكم على عروضكم القيمة. درع ثالث أيضا من المؤسسة الإسلامية لتأمين الاستثمار وائتمان الصادرات سيقدم للسيد جلال بن حيون. والدرع الرابع الذي سيسلمه السيد أسامة قيسي سيتسلمه السيد محمد خطيب. إذن شكرا لكم جميعا، شكرا لرئيس الجلسة، شكرا لرؤساء الجلسات، شكرا لكل الحضور ولكل المتحدثين، وندعوكم الآن لتناول وجبة الغداء على أن نعود بعد حوالي ساعة لمواصلة جلسات المنتدى. شكرا لحضوركم.